They paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
That was Joni Mitchell playing a song in which she complains that they paved paradise and put up a parking lot. A measure which actually would have alleviated congestion on the outskirts of paradise. Aha! Anyway, speaking of a big yellow taxi,
They paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
I mean, this has all the attributes of an amazing taxi. It has a huge amount of rear space and it's yellow. And it has this enormous hatchback. You could pack, I don't know, 3 weeks in Florida for a family of 4 in this thing. And because it's a Volkswagen, it's as user-friendly and idiot-proof as the menu at Nando's. I mean, I think this might be the best Seat Toledo rival I've ever driven. I'm just kidding. This car is massive and it's a hatchback and it's yellow, so yes, it would make a good taxi. But it's also the most exciting Volkswagen model I've driven since ever, possibly. Note I said model there. I know that fast Golfs and things are more exciting than this. Weird thing is, I can't work out exactly why I feel that way. I mean, in every way you could frame this as just a big 5-door Passat, and the Passat is one of the most boring cars on the planet. So making it a bit more practical is hardly a recipe for excitement, is it? I expected to be ambivalent about this car. And to tell you the truth, there's nothing in here that I can point at and say, yep, that's what makes this car so fascinating. Really, like they've stolen this passenger side air vent thing from the Audi A4 cabin. And there's some nice strip lighting and the big touchscreen is cool and it's got that wavy hand gesture thing so you can change the radio station without touching it. Even though that's a really annoying gimmick in practice and it's actually a 900 quid option. But it's otherwise a Volkswagen interior by numbers. I think it's because with the Arteon here, they've perfected the Volkswagen formula. It's so calm and classy and comfortable in here that it feels like you're driving the perfectly engineered car. But then the execution's quite exciting too, you know, in an obvious and corporately acceptable sort of a way. Like a song written by Ed Sheeran but performed by Metallica. Do you feel what I feel? I'm in love with the shape of... So this is the Metallica bit. It doesn't come across as well in pictures, it does sort of look like a flat Passat. But IRL, it looks great. Doing great. It's long and it's low and it's wide. Now generally I hate it when people describe the look of a car in reviews. It just seems like a massive waste of time for anybody that's equipped with their own eyes. Nonetheless, I do feel obliged to point a couple of cool things out on this car, like these big shoulders that make the car look really wide, and the way the lights sort of merge into the grille here. It's really cool. And the fact that it has more than a hint of Audi A5 Sportback about it. Which brings us to the following question. A question that I've been asked at least half a dozen times over the last week. What even is this like? To get to the bottom of that, we first need to establish the price. It's this. And because the trim hierarchy and stuff is quite simple, we'll quickly go through that now. Just 2 trim levels split between this one, Sporty Spice, and this one, Luxury Spice. You can guess the drill. Sporty Spice gets bigger wheels, body kit, black spoiler, sporty seats, sporty atmosphere in general. They are both very well equipped. Here are the highlights. I won't read them, but I will wait for a second while you do. If I could just interrupt for a second. CD player, in case you're wondering. The CD is like a plastic disc, sort of like an iPod. You put it in a slot. Cool, eh? So, absolutely loads of stuff, to the point where you wonder whether there's even an options list. There is, obviously. It's got loads of stuff on it. Massaging seats, bigger touchscreens, bigger wheels and that. And you can spend a lot with it. Point is, this is a 30 to 40 grand luxury hatchback with more expensive kit inside it than the club shop at Newcastle United. And so, it's not a replacement for this, because you can still get this and it's smaller, less expensive, and it has 1 less door. And it's not a replacement for this, because this is bigger, more expensive, and has 1 less door. It is quite similar in feel to this, and to this, in terms of space and door numbers, although it's much cheaper than this one, and it's much more expensive than this one. In price terms, it's more on par with this, but it's both bigger and much better equipped. Well, that cleared that up. But really, for me, that's a big part of the appeal of this car, that even though it's in no way groundbreaking, it somehow sits in a space all of its own. Like now, all of a sudden, there's an alternative to a lower level BMW 3 Series or Mercedes C-Class, say, that's bigger, more versatile, less common, and likely to stay that way too, much better equipped and, in my opinion, very good looking. So, let's say you do decide to swap your German premium rear-wheel drive small saloon for one of these. Will you be satisfied with the way it drives? Probably, if you're doing a lot of motorway miles especially. It's as refined as you'll need it to be. Great driving position, excellent suppression of the outside world, and all that stuff I said before about this being simple and intuitive, all combines to make this very relaxing, very fuss-free, very enjoyable, calm sort of a car. Oh, but it's got a horrible turning circle. Even this R-Line one with its big wheels and low profile tyres, even this one rides like the Vicar. It's forgiving, I mean. Now, of course, if the reason you want your premium German saloon is the rear-wheel drive thing, because you know the difference that makes to the balance of the car and you enjoy it, then this probably won't satisfy you. And that's because it's front-wheel drive. Now, you can get all-wheel drive, but it doesn't really affect the handling balance in any meaningful way in the real world. Oh yes, drivetrains and that. Quite simple really. 150 horsepower, 1.5 TSI petrol at the bottom, 280 horsepower, 2 litre TI, so close. 2 litre TSI petrol at the top, and some diesels in between, all of them 2 litres. Bish bash bosh, pay your money, insert your own passive aggressive joke about Volkswagen diesels here. Let's move on to practicality, which I've already talked about quite a lot, but without actually giving you any numbers, so here they is. The boot is that big, and here's how big the boot is framed against other things that I've mentioned throughout the course of this review. And it is also worth re-emphasising how much rear space there is in this car, without any numbers. So, is the Arteon perfect? Obviously not. It does start to come undone if you drive it a bit more enthusiastically. Feels a bit soft and a bit lumbering. Also, its Boaty McBoatface style turning circle can make it feel a bit clumsy around town. And when it comes to engine noise, the diesel Arteon especially is a bit more in the mid-level Volkswagen camp than it is the German premium one. And that does make a difference when you're spending 40 grand on your big 5-door. It's all a bit too 4-cylinder-y and a bit loud. I expect that the reason why you can't get a 6-cylinder diesel in this is to differentiate it from the Audi stuff. But it would be cool if you could, because this car would really suit a nice 6-cylinder diesel. It would be almost perfect. But you know, no major complaints. At a time when every other new car seems to be an SUV or crossover of some sort, I think the Arteon is a breath of fresh air. A breath of fresh air from Volkswagen. Imagine that. Personality, practicality, style, and probably ongoing exclusivity. And most importantly, it's not a crossover. Yes. Thanks for watching. More detailed review at HJ. You can go there if you like. Please hit subscribe, and if you like what we do, tell your friends. The more subscribers we have, the more likely I am to finally realise my dream of being sponsored by Greggs. Bye.